Today we're going to talk about what voice to follow. What voice to follow. Which is, you could subtitle it, Will the Real God Please Stand Up? But it's a Todd Rundgren song, never mind. Okay, so which voice to follow? And a lot of people ask this, like what guidance, what voice, what to listen to, and it gets very convoluted. So this is going to take a moment to really understand this. And it is absolutely essential that we come to understand this. Somebody will say, my voice of my higher self. You have several layers of higher self. Which one of them are you going to listen to? You know, go to God and let God determine what part of you is ready to hear what. And that's, in a summary, that's what I would say. But we really need to use a higher level of consciousness as our guide. We must not become complacent. It doesn't even make sense to become complacent and either listen to no guide or listen to any old guide. We deserve much better. It really makes no sense to settle. And it's interesting to me because even a non-interested, awakening, kind of non-spiritual person still has the integrity to advise, let's say, their children to make better decisions, right? They don't have to be deeply spiritual to get that. Just an average person understands that. So why would we settle in anything else? So again, getting back to God, but we have to learn to practice this concept. It's not like you can hope it happened or wish that it would happen or even call it in once and assume it's forever. We've come into a world of illusion and we've allowed ourselves to get caught up in, like the song we just listened to, a cog, where this bizarre, there's a wheel that takes us down and a wheel that takes us up. Involution, evolution. Voices that are not of love take us down. Or as we talked about, I think it was last Sunday, down and out instead of in and up. Remember that? That was pretty cool. Yeah, no, I liked that one. So, looking at this from a fuller perspective, this world, and people taking the advice of this world, you have your intellect, you have your emotions, you even have your physical reality, like your senses, advising you. Masters and mystics and gurus and yogis have said for thousands of years, do not listen to the guidance or the voice of your senses. And we're even adding now, or your emotions. I'm not talking about your divine feeling, I'm talking about human emotions. And your intellect. The intellect hasn't helped. The intellect has created civilizations that had knowledge, intellect without wisdom, and it's destroyed people. So who wants to continue listening to that? Now, of course, there are certain kinds of people that, oh man, the head, the brain tells them everything that they want to know. It's like that's all that matters. It's the strangest thing to me, but I'm a little weird. So, it seems foreign to let your intellect, and by that we're talking about your lower three chakras, your physical senses in reality, your emotional self, reality, which isn't real at all, and your intellect, those lower three chakras. We sometimes say intellect, we point to our head. It's because we think that's where we think from, because we think our thinking comes from our brain, and it doesn't. The brain is just following what it's told by the soul. That's another story. So the lower three chakras are sort of what your three-dimensional world is about. 3 and 3. 3 dimensions, 3 lower chakras. The heart is where we can now access not direct God, but the light of God shining down into our heart. So we're not yet back to our divine, perfect, whole, upper 3 chakra, divine Trinity self. But where we are is here, the soul. We're capable of this. Most humans don't go there. They stay down in the lower 3 centers. Only what my head tells me, only what my emotions tell me, only what my senses tell me, and so forth. That's their reality, which makes sense because they're 3-dimensional people. But you're not a 3-dimensional being. It just looks like it. That's all. It's temporary. So, and I know some people are so into this world that they get kind of offended when I say, it is beyond worthless, the advice of your senses. Why? Because they're lying to you. They're telling you you're a limited being and you're not. And, physicists, they're just trying so hard to get there. They're like, we're starting to learn and understand physics and reality and non-reality. And the more they think about it, the more they're off. But interestingly enough, there's this concept in physics and astrophysics and so on, where they're saying, they talk about the speed of light. Now, they've announced a few years ago, we think that you can go faster. There's one thing that could go faster than the speed of light. Light itself. And then the academics, ooh. I said that 30 years ago. How could it not be true? It's not because I'm a genius. It's because I listen. What could go faster than light? Light. It makes total sense. And how and why? Because we are light. Then they say, getting to the point of the speed of light is sort of what they're calling causation. Doesn't that make sense? We're the causation. The speed of light means back to your reality, back to your real self. Right? And when you become light itself, there is no traveling at the speed of light. Because you're light, so you're everywhere. And to be everywhere in this universe is still not there. But that's Eden. It's not quite there. Why? Because you still think you're in a universe that you're one with. A seen, knowable universe is still not there. So then science, some of them are pushing the envelope a little, saying, and if you can get to the speed of light, we believe now that you can go, warp speed several times, infinite number of times perhaps, past the speed of light. That's only because the closer you get to the speed of light, once you reach that threshold, the laws of physics will bounce you back into another false reality, an illusion, where you think you're going faster than light. So they're all delusional. And yet they're telling you and me what's true about our universe. And to me, it's really fabulous because the theories, Einstein and so forth, saying the closer you get to the speed of light, the denser you become. Which is actually not true, but you will feel that way. Why? Because the closer you get, speed of light is the act of forgiveness. Matter is density. Matter is judgment. We came to this earth. The earth was created because of judgment and fear. So the closer you get to the speed of light, the closer you're getting to your real self. But then exponentially is increasing your fear of being your real self. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, instead of, along with the speed of light, and then there's no speed of light. Check it out. Go and read your textbooks. They're still talking about movement. The speed of light means a vibration of light. So it'll feel like you're traveling, but you're not going anywhere. You're vibrating at the speed of light, which is who you are. So on my way to awakening to the speed of light, I'm also running into my ego judgmental self. So they say, as you're getting to the speed of light, you're also getting heavier in mass. No, you're not. Your ego's just telling you that. It's like as you're waking up and learning to forgive, more stuff comes up. That's called mass. As I'm becoming who I really am, it's not like you just go, I think I'm going to go into recovery. And the day I thought about that, I no longer had an addiction. No, as soon as you say you're not going to do something, the more it starts calling to you. That's the speed of light creating more, not creating, but battling with more density, mass. So we become heavier in our ego judgmental self, in our patterns and our wounds as we approach our light, not the speed of light, our light. Is that making sense? So the whole thing to me is beautiful as a metaphor. And as we get towards the speed of light, you're actually getting to the speed of your heart chakra. And when you go beyond, really beyond, not maths, science's, physics version of beyond the speed of light, which is just bouncing off the speed of light back into the illusion, thinking that you're now past the speed of light. Instead, you actually pierce the veil, and now you go into multi-dimensionality, meaning like God presence. And that's where everybody's going. But people don't realize it. So they continue acting up and judging and letting their physical self, emotional self, intellectual self determine their decisions on a day-to-day basis. There's something greater. So think about this. What if we think, most of us in groups like this would agree that we are evolving, supposedly, right? We don't act like it because that's mass getting denser as we get towards light. So look at the masses. See, that's their mass. Those masses that act nuts, you know, especially like in Washington, but DC. Politicians but it's academics, it's all this world is an illusion. And the masses act up. Not once, they do it consistently. But right now, we're running into mass hysteria in the world. One day, we're going to look back at a snapshot of groups like this wearing masks, and it's going to be kind of funny. Hey, remember that? You know, this thing will protect me against evil things out there that you can't even see. Isn't that called being afraid of your shadow? Why are you wearing a mask? Because there's a thing floating around, and I could inhale it. Or is it ingesting? No, they said not ingesting. But then it's only for children. No, children are actually pretty immune. Only if I get older, I better stop aging. It's like, wow, like you're not at all. But it's going to be funny at some point. Even now, yeah, it already is. But at some point, even though it already is funny, it's also tragic because fear is the number one toxic epidemic. And this is playing off fear. But it's okay. Wear the mask, but laugh. Isn't this funny? This is mass hysteria. But play off the word mass hysteria, and you are getting closer to mass because we are getting closer to light speed, higher vibration. So let it whine. Let it act up. Don't react to it. Respect it. Wear the mask. Drink more water if you like to drink water. Eat right if that's what you like to do. Whatever feels right for you. Just don't believe it determines who you are. Light. We are the light of God. And again, I've said several times in my life, when God said, let there be light, that was the day we were created. Let there be light. And what is light? And then light decided to dream that it could be something else. And it went through a veil that it created, into a world that it created, a universe that it created, with issues that it created. But if it's true that we're evolving, then that means if you believe in time, you know, you've got time, space, and then what's called time space. But if you go into time for a moment and say, someday, when let's pretend it's 1 million years from now that the race, the human race, all beings ascend. Let's say it's 1 million years from now, okay? Hypothetically. But if there's no time, then we've already done it. So now, when I say, what voice do you want to listen to? Do you want to listen to any fractions of the voices that tell us we're not home and we need to be afraid and fight for our lives? Or do you want to listen to a voice which is your voice, your divine voice that's already home? There's a part of us that's already home. Why not listen to that guy? Well, I don't know. There's issues. I got to worry. That other part of us doesn't believe that. It's already awakened. Technically, it never even fell asleep, but that's another conversation. Just to keep it a bit simpler, there's a point where we're going to evolve to where we won't wake up. But since time's an illusion, on one level, in one dimension, we're already there. So I don't have to fight so hard and try so hard to defend, to prove, to convince. It's what Jesus meant by resist not evil. Chill. There's a comment in the Old Testament that most people don't know is there. You kind of have to have some Kabbalistic background to see this there, but in the Bible, I won't say where, but in the Old Testament, there's a statement that's telling you, and the original terminology was corona, and it basically is saying, choose God and not corona. Okay? If you choose corona, you will be ill. If you choose God, corona cannot touch you. Now think about that. There's a voice inside that's sane. I don't mean just not crazy. I mean that actually knows who we are. And it doesn't have to like fight like a superior form of magic to fight the black magic, the dark magic of illness. It doesn't fight it. It understands. It's impossible for divine beings to have problems. When you have chaplains or practitioners, depending on what group you go to, and they are using decrees or affirmations that you are whole, healthy, and so forth, if they understand what they're doing, they're actually just telling you the truth. A practitioner and chaplain, a truly spiritual person, doesn't say, you are healthy and whole, and in the back of their mind going, God, I hope this works. You know, that's not what they're doing. They actually, for a moment, they might be human, they might still have issues, they might still accidentally burn their toast and lose their car keys. But for this moment, when they're sitting with you, they're supposed to say, this little self disappears. And I'm going to call in a real self. The presence of God speaking through me tells you, you cannot be sick. You might see it, feel it. I'm not going to deny you feelings and human experiences. But I'm going to speak to another part of you. I've worked with people with entities, and it's very, can be intimidating to human selves to hear those weird voices and see objects flying around the room. It can be quite intimidating. But one of the important pieces when you're doing work like that, exorcisms and things like that, is you don't actually have conversations with the entities and make them real. You tell them they have no place here. I remember one woman I worked with back in the 80s, and a sort of young lady, but probably in her 30s, 40s. And I remember stepping into center and saying, who are you? The woman, where are you right now? And something else kept saying, we won't let her talk. I didn't go, oh, please. No. What do you mean you won't? Who are you? And sometimes you'll get an answer of who they are. I'm not asking because I want to have a conversation. So I'm not actually, oh, okay. Now, whatever it says, I don't care. I'm talking to the light in that person. You come forward, you get out of the way. And it's the same what you have to do with your issues and fears. I can't pay this bill. I'm not saying that doesn't feel real. I'm saying that your divine self knows that's impossible. So the more we live from our divine self, the less stuff has an effect on us. It's like you are in another plane, because you are. Another reality, because you are. The closer we get to being light, instead of calling it the speed of light, the closer we become to being light, the more all else falls away. Keep having conversations with it. Demons, right? But also it means metaphorically, keep having conversations about it. Yeah, isn't this great? We're all becoming part of light. Oh, but my shoulder hurts, and I got a bill I can't pay. But it's a great thing. We're all becoming light. I can't wait, hopefully, someday. That's not how you get there. You see the other. Who are you? Get out of the way. You see it, but you tell it to part, like Moses to the sea. You see? It's Pharaoh, free my people, is the same as us talking to our ego or our body. You're going to have aches and pains. Don't shame. Never shame yourself. It doesn't help to go, God, I should be so spiritual now, and yet I have a bill I can't pay. That's your cross today. What cross? You're going to resurrect anyway. So, know it's there. Oh, God, a child of mine. I don't understand this. How could my child be an addict? I'm all enlightened. Because you had them when you weren't enlightened. All right? It's okay. They picked up some of your stuff. Lessons. And then, even if you say, but I have no stuff, they also have their own. So when you try to impose perfection, even on your child or your partner or whatever else, you're technically showing your insecurity, that you don't really believe who you are, or you wouldn't be trying to fix other people to make you feel better. I am the light of the world, Jesus said. But he didn't copyright that. He didn't take it upon and I'm the only one. I am is the light of the world. He's not going, I, Jesus, male, 30 years old, Jewish, etc. He wasn't referring to him as a person or a gender. He was saying, I am is the light of the world. What is the I am? The God presence. And as Ernest Holmes says, the God presence in us is called Christ. Don't confuse that with Christianity and other things. Truly the Christ presence. I am is the light of the world. Are you the Son of God? The critics and judges are saying to him. What did he say? I am. See, he knew what he was doing. He knew this was going to mess with their minds. He knew they weren't going to get it, which is why he said, I am. God in me is the Christ, is the child of God. For all of us. They couldn't hear him. And he told them, you can't hear me because your guide is evil. He didn't mean judging something as he's saying you're listening to a wicked, limited self. But you're not a limited, egotistic or whatever self. You're a divine being. So grab hold of that I am. Call that in. Live the I am presence. But here's where it gets really tricky. The word responsibility has to come into play. So when people say, I want to access my I am presence, I want to be spiritual, I want to be divine, you can't just be divine. You have to own, well, I can create the divine. I am a being of light, or your techniques in manifestation, whatever that system is that people follow. Abundance techniques and all that. You know some of that channel material? That's great. I am. But which I am is talking? The I am not? My ego? Or the I am of God? Oh, well, I'm going to go with the I am of God. I'll take door number 1, Monty or whomever, Okay, door number 1. So there's the I am. You can't call on your I am self like people think you can. I am holy, I am a being of light, I am prosperous. You can't own your I am unless you also are willing to accept when you are acting from your I am not. If you don't take responsibility for miscreations, you can't grab hold of the creation. See, and some people, they love spiritual bypassing. Oh, I read a good book today. I'm holy. No, man. You got to go in to go up. I said that last week. You got to go in to go up. That just sounds like a song waiting to happen, right? You got to go in to go up. Whatever. Kind of melody to it or whatever. Children, let's sing along. Kindergartners, you got to go in to go up. Some little character, a little... yeah, right. Some lion singing and leading the group. But you have to go within. You can't go, God, I'm just a jerk and I'm totally messed up and I just hate people. Wait. Oh, I'm one with God. It doesn't work that way. You have to go, dang, I can see the misuse of my mind. There's a lot of people that understand and most that don't understand, like King David. King David was a very unique being, but here's one of the things that God really favored, so to speak. It's just using biblical terminology there, but that when David, who was quite wise and quite beautiful in so many different ways, but when King David made a mistake and he listened to a voice that said, you made a mistake, and he said, I did. The humbleness, the humility made something open. That's when you go into the program if you're a 12-stepper. It's when you say, I can't do this of myself. I made mistakes. I'm an addict simply means I come from my ego at times, and I see it. You cannot heal without owning that. There's no decent sponsor that's going to let you walk through the program blaming people. 12 steps from bad people. It doesn't make sense. It's really one step, you. All the 12 steps are 12 steps of you. When you're calling upon God as a higher power, that's the part of you that knows who you are. When you're going through the old techniques of blame and shame and all that you have to stop and look at. That's brilliant. You got to go in to go up. You cannot fake it. You can't just, I'm going to, a magical something or other, a ceremony. Hey, there's this guy doing a ceremony. There was somebody offering an online seminar that guaranteed your enlightenment. Why take that? You already know the teacher isn't. As soon as they told you for $99.99, it sounds like you remember Earl Scheib, I'll paint any car for only $99, whatever it was in the 70s. And it's like that. Hi. Oh, it would have had to have been, hello. I'm a master. And for just $99, I guarantee your enlightenment. You got to be able to laugh at that. What do you mean you're going to guarantee? How are you going to guarantee it? What if I don't want to be enlightened? I just want to take the workshop so I can prove you wrong. You can't guarantee that. People would say to me, Michael, could you do a workshop on teaching people exactly like your healing techniques? Or, yes, I can teach the techniques. But they would say, can you certify? Because there's Reiki 1, level 1, Reiki level 2. No, there's not Michael Mirdad level 1 and 2. I can't. And people are saying, but you could charge $500 or $1,000 per person, take them through 3 levels. And I would be lying. Because the main thing that works in and through me is love. I'm not claiming to be perfect. I'm not the perfect embodiment of the Christ. I'm just kind of Christy, okay? So I'm not completely there, but what I do know is that there's this feeling, and it sounds counterproductive here to say, there's a humility, there's a knowingness that without God I'm nothing, and only in God am I anything, which is also everything. So whether it's healing techniques or whether it's teaching, I cannot do that if I don't care about people. You see, so I was telling people, to be a great healer, you have to know love. And I cannot certify you in love. I can't go, you accomplished Love 101. How do I promise that? Love level 1. How do I guarantee it? So I knew all I'm going to be able to do is teach. And you get it, you don't. You get it today, tomorrow. You get it with me or another teacher. It doesn't matter. I'm just teaching it. Really, by being an example. That's really where it lands. For many years of my life, it was touring. And that was perfect for what it was, touring. Great, wonderful for what it was. But at the same time, touring was also teaching. It's like hit and run. Teach and go. Teach and go. That was perfect for the time. But coming to one place for 10 years was like into the fire, in a sense. Because I had to be able to say to myself, can you be that every day, year after year? Not just teach it for a weekend and fly to another place. And I knew that I was a decent person and all that. But I'm saying to come here was into the fire, to really not only demonstrate it, but to be it. And it's a whole new level for us all. So there's people that go, I think I'll go to Unity of Sedona, this Sunday. And then I won't go for 3 years, and then I might stop by again. That's not actually dedication. And I know what I'm saying about myself too. Getting into one place, dedication. It was a statement to my spiritual self. This is great, 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 great as a teacher. Wonderful, good job. Can you now be it every day? Well, yeah. Let's go ahead and see. Saying yes to that question is easy. Living it, is another story. And small town and, certain things about that in the fire, man, just totally in the fire. So what a trip that's been. And they talk about Sedona. Sedona is you. Maui is you. Mount Shasta is you. And so are the plains of the Dakotas. Everything outside is inside anyway. So you don't credit the town. You credit that you were ready. And yes, in the illusion, this town, this place, tends to act as a magnifier. Absolutely. A magnifier of issues, lessons, and whatever else. But ultimately, you and I have to make the decision. I've seen people, we have to make the decision. I've seen people go, oh, Sedona's beat me up, man. I have to move out of here. What do you mean it's beat you up? What is the it you're talking about? You mean you confronted parts of yourself that weren't very fun. I understand. That's kind of a bummer. So I'm going to leave because I've done as much self-inventory as I want to do right now. That's called a responsible statement, not I have to leave, Sedona's kicking me out. Sedona's calling me here. I get that. In the illusion, that's how it feels. I'm not wronging you for that. But one day, humans are going to go here a bit more. I am drawn here to experience me. The red rocks are teaching me. The red rocks are manifestations of you. They're actually not sitting there like a children's program with eyes and mouths going, hello, initiate. Welcome to Sedona. And even if you go out there and hear voices, they're parts of yourself. Oh, I don't like cactus. It's a part of yourself. Sometimes you're a prick. No. So it is. They're you. The poisonous plants are a part of us. The prickly plants are a part of us. All things out there, the saviors, the roses. Oh, high vibrational rose essence. I need some of that. Why is there a that? What you need is this. I need to be that rose essence. I need to be whatever I'm praising in the red rocks. You cannot go up without going in. So going in, as I shared last week to a degree, is disturbing. Because when you go in, you're going to find thousands of false images of ourselves. Even the nice ones, the successful one, the wonderful mother, they're still masks. All of them. The failure, the this and that, and whatever else you think of yourself, the smoker, the non-smoker, I broke my addiction and the addiction, they're all parts of ourselves. So when we look in, we become disturbed. Because we're going, no way. Some of us don't mind saying, I affirm that all my negative issues are gone. Easily said, and you wish they were. Really own, why did you even have them? Where did that come from? And so as it all distills down, the ultimate is going to be not the easy route of, I'm broken and wounded because my family. It's okay because they did do some things. I understand that. I'm not telling you to pretend they didn't happen. But we will come one day to understand the me that is the Alpha and the Omega didn't have anything happen in between. I am as I am. I am that I am. The Alpha and Omega, the perfect holy self, was here in the beginning and is here at the end. I just come to understand, oh my God, I get it now. So you don't have to worry and fight and resist those masks, but they are going to be there at first. You will for a moment confront yourself. And people constantly run from seeing themselves. Constantly. You run when you literally close that book because you didn't like what you were reading. Quit the program because your sponsor was being too hard on you. And I know mistakes can be made. You stop meditating because, it gives me a headache. Any master at any of these are going to tell you, well, that's a typical reaction. Oh, I don't want to be in this 12-step group because I don't like these people. But they're going to say, well, yeah, that's on page, they're going to look up everything you can come up with. It's there. It's predictable. And you know how most people respond to that? I hate you. How dare you find me in a page? You don't want to be called on it. And it's predictable that you're going to be that way because that is not God speaking. Well, yes, it is, because God doesn't want me to be broken. God wants you to walk through the broken to the unbroken, not deny the broken and pretend you're unbroken. So when we first go within, yes, man, it seems treacherous. That's why all those stories of initiates wandering through deserts and going through challenges and tribulations. And in the story of King David too. Going through hell, the dark night of the soul, as it were. To come to a place of, oh, this is amazing. I had it like the good witch to Dorothy, You had it all along. There's no place like Om. I had it all along. Oh my God, this is brilliant. And there's a part of you that's going to go, why didn't you just tell me that? We did, honey. We did. You just weren't listening. So you, again, tempted to judge or blame. But we don't go to that place of enlightenment the way people think. It's not by reading another book. It's not another technique. Read the books because they trigger those reminders, those memories, those awakenings. They trigger them. That's all they can do, is provide opportunities. But you can shut the book. You can ignore the book. You can not take the advice of your counselor and sponsor and so on. That's what they call free will. But you're never practicing free will when you're not free. If your decisions bind you, you're not practicing free will. I have rights as an American. I have free will as a being. You do. But you're not exercising it. Yes, I am. When I do this. No, none of that's free will. If it isn't loving, it's not free. You are will bound by your ego. And the average person does not want to hear that, does not like to hear that. God is my only goal. Knowing who I am is my only goal. Remembrance of oneness and peace and joy, that's my only goal. So when I start listening to a voice inside that says, does this take you closer to your goal or further? Well, I'm not sure. Then spend some time in silence and wait to find out. Does resisting responsibility take me closer or further? And some people are going to justify it. Taking responsibility takes me further because it upsets me. See, that's one of those fake answers where you thought going and looking at your stuff, which doesn't feel very sweet, was a negative. It was the thing in the way called mass before you become light again. So it becomes very confusing. Which voice do I listen to? Just watch out for the spoiled, entitled self that says, only things when I get my way are really what God would want. Skip the word God for a minute and say what love would want. And you'll start being able to cut a lot of those tantrums out of the way. Because when you use a word like love or peace, you can't escape as easily. Use the word God because your head can switch around what that means. Use the word peace, which is God, in a feeling word. Use the word peace and you start to go, no, this actually doesn't. Avoiding my addiction does not bring me towards peace. It's kind of nice. In fact, I think I'll go get stoned right now. Because then I won't have to think about the fact that I'm trying to avoid the issues of getting stoned. That's not peace. Peace that surpasses human avoidance. Peace that surpasses understanding. We learn to listen to a voice that said, what would love have me do? Not the tangential love, like getting what I want, but truly, deeply becoming. I know that looking at my stuff is harsh, and that's kind of a drag sometimes. Or I don't want to think of old issues, and I get that. But keep asking on the deeper answer. But going through it, I approach my light again. Just like turbulence on a plane, lifting off at first turbulence. The first person, if nobody flew jets before and a jet manifested and you had a pilot, somebody that could train to fly it for the very first time, they would start flying it. And as soon as you hit turbulence, you're thinking, take it down, baby. We're going to blow up. But a person who knows their stuff knows this is the illusion. This isn't where we're going to stay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you're enjoying the turbulence, that's great because we're going to stay here. And only in a turbulent flight the entire way. That's not what they say. Stay buckled up because this is going to be rough the whole way. Because that's what we like to do. No, it'll clear soon. It'll be 10 minutes and then it should clear, whatever. They're trying to reassure you. It's a metaphor, mind you, spiritually. It's going to get rough for a moment. You're going to sort of wish you could have that drink. Have it. But it will not take you where you say you want to go. You don't have to judge or blame yourself. Just know. Take responsibility. This will not take you where you want to go. How many affairs should you have if you're married? And you could say, wait, let me check this. This is my, 18th affair. But this one's hot. Wow. Never had one as hot as this. So I'm going to muscle test it. Yep. It's my muscle testing saying, should I continue to? Yep. Let me, my current love partner I said I do 20 years ago, and no, it's testing strong. Cheating is fine, because that's what you want. Your consciousness will override the muscle test, because that's what you want. You've got to be able to say, it does not feel like peace. You know, don't get me wrong. You can have 3 intimate friends or lovers if it feels like that's in agreement. But when you're saying to one person, heart and soul, I'm yours, body, mind, soul, I'm yours, and doing something else on the fly, you know, it's not real. You can have privacy with who you're with and all that. That's fine, as long as that's clear with everybody. So whether it's an addiction, whether it's a cheating, or whatever the case may be, does that really resonate with peace? And it becomes confusing at times. But the more we know what peace is, and the more we know that we are peace, the more we recognize turbulence will not stand in my way. I am determined to see things differently. I am determined to see things as God sees them. We'll fight, we'll resist, but it's to no avail. This is inevitable, and that's good news, by the way. It is inevitable that we wake up. So the only answer or question rather then is, how long would you like to wait? I think I need 1,000,000 more years. And so it is. Right? And so it is. The human race could ascend, but they're not going to completely ascend without you. You can incarnate again, but there may be no earth to ascend to or to incarnate to. So you have to come back like as a cockroach on Mars. If that's what you need to do, go for it. Just go for it. Enjoy yourself. Do what you want to do. But there's going to be a moment where that cockroach goes, you know what? I'm just going to accept it. I am as God created me. Poof! It's a cockroach ascension moment. But we don't go home part of us. We're all in this together because there is only one of us. As the Sufis say, there's only one of us here. These are just variations. These are just expressions of the one being that said, what would life, I'm one Christ holy being, one with God as well. And that one being says, I wonder what it would like if I were fragmented, which can't happen because we're one. But you can dream that you fragmented. When we dreamt that we fragmented, the Big Bang took place and poof, we look like millions or billions of people. And really countless numbers of beings, but let's say billions. Billions of people, but they're all me. We know we're not close to ascension when you can still say, yeah, we're kind of one, but there's some of you I don't like. Some of you are causing me to not ascend. See, that's not ascension. Ascension means I'm one again. And if I'm one again, then I can look at all beings and go, I get it. Yeah, you're seemingly handsome, you're seemingly not. You're seemingly tall or short or black or white. You're seemingly a nice person. Not. And you just go, but you're all expressions of me when I was insane. You're all expressions of my belief that I could be separate, but guess what? I can't be. So guess what? That means you and I are one holy being. And no matter what that person's doing, you just do your best to see through the external behavior, the mask, no pun intended, but the mask to the holy person. Affirm that it's there. And if you doubt, no big deal. Just say, I don't see it yet, but the divine I am knows nothing but that truth. We are and always will be as God created us to be. It just doesn't seem like it yet. Please take a few centering breaths. Keep in mind, as we end today, just kind of soak in a moment of meditative consciousness, that the only time we're disempowered beings is when we start believing in things that are not empowering. Empowerment doesn't mean my ego self getting its way. It means true power, empower, to find my power and I probably shouldn't try to do that on my own. Instead, I'll call on the I am presence of God, which is part of what I am. But I don't always remember that. So I'm calling in the presence of God. It's okay that I sometimes notice my wounds, because then I can bring them to healing. It's all right that I have masks, false issues, and false accomplishments. And as we grow, I'm going to first start walking through and beyond my false wounds, start accessing some of my gifts, but even those are only temporal. My gifts are minor, no matter how great they seem, compared to who I really am. So imagine in this moment that you walk through this concept, that you walk through just for half a minute. Let consciousness, let the Mother, the Holy Spirit of God, let it show you examples of your broken masks. The addict, the orphan, the nobody loves me, the I've been married several times, all these titles. Ill, physically ill. I battle with depression, psych issues, all of them. See them all objectively, but see them all. So many. Even past life images. So many. But no matter how many past lives I've had a certain trait, it's still, see it objectively. Because be still and know that I am God. So watch these things objectively and clearly. Have a feeling, a confident feeling, these are not who I am. And just, even if you have to make believe that you actually get that. This is not who I am. It's what seemed to be, what seemed to happen, what seemed to occur. But it's not who I am. Imagine that you're saying that with such conviction, all such things kind of fall away. And then let it go to black and come back in another vision. A vision of all the seemingly positive masks. Go ahead and see your gifts, your accomplishments, things you've received kudos for, achievements, certifications, licensing. Try to stay just as objective as you did with the seeming negatives. I seem to have accomplished this, attained that, got compliments here, and so on. Can I be courageous enough to see them and say, they're not who I am? Because it leaves us with a void, which is a beautiful void but terrifying, that I know nothing. We've got to confront that voice, that dark void. Some of you in meditations or experiences have seen this beyond blackness, beyond darkness of the universe. This thing that feels like it's called oblivion. And that's what awaits us. And it's beautiful because it's the blank canvas waiting for us to experience new creation. If I feel too attached, but I don't want to give up the I'm a good mother, any of them, the positives you stay too attached to, just remember this. They're an attachment. And if you stay stuck to them, you will limit your ability to rise beyond the void into the ultimate I am, God. So as much as you're capable of doing so, even if you held on to a few of the old wounds and a few of the masks of positive, that's fine. That will determine how high we can go, but still we go higher. 2, the veil, beyond the veil, for the next half minute. And what if I am as God created me? Don't just ask the question. Let an answer come. What if I am as God created me? How would I feel? What would I feel like, be like? Consciousness. It's like there's no limit to what I can know. There's no limit to love. If there's any broken people on planet Earth, there's no limit. I need to see through that and into the light. Limitless, limitless, limitless. Mass does not hold me back into the limited universe. It's limitless. I am limitless. I am as God. Soak that in for another brief moment. How nice. How nice. And so it is. Beautiful. Take that into the room with you. Don't leave it behind as a meditation. Take it with you. Like every time we do these workshops and you do your meditations and we do these services, every time let more and more stick. And before you know it, you're a different person. Some people walk in sacred services, they sit, they do the gratuitous religious thing. They might listen for a moment to a talk. They might go, oh, that was it. And they just drop it when they walk back out the door. Back into their human stuff. Well, we're supposed to bring the light everywhere we are, because that's what we are. We are the light. So then let's act like it. Think like it, feel like it. All right. Let this speak from our soul to our soul. From our soul to our soul. From our soul to God. From God to us. This beautiful wave. This is the real me that's praying to the real me. The ego self, I don't really have any interest. Let that fall away. So in this moment, we center in gratitude. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever we go, God
is.
is, I am, we are, and so it is. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.